Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, and let's go ahead and talk about Rebel Rising, the latest young adult novel. Came out the same day as Guardian of the Whills, and we're going to do the spoiler-free edition, so this is going to be a relatively short video. But this is basically just going to be, should you pick it up? Now, I think that your enjoyment of this book is going to be based off of how much you enjoyed Rogue One. Me, personally, I didn't identify with the characters too well in Rogue One, and to be honest, I'm one of the minority who didn't like it as much as, well, a lot of the fan base did. I felt that it was a little bit too cluttered and it moved too quickly, and if you would have added an extra hour and just given us a 3.5 hour film instead of a 2 hour and 15-minute film, I think that it would have turned out a lot better. And in order to give you guys my full opinion on Rebel Rising, I'm going to have to reference a much better, much more in-depth video on the issues with Rogue One, the faults in Rogue One. I'll go ahead and link it up here in the corner and down in the description down below. It's a video titled Rogue One versus The Force Awakens, The Fault in Our Stars by Lessons from the Screenplay. And he helped me to understand why I had the feelings I did about Rogue One, especially about the character of Jyn Erso. He describes Jyn Erso, she's a passive protagonist throughout the entire film. A passive protagonist is a type of character and a type of protagonist who has things happen to them. They do not cause things to happen. Things happen to them and they are forced to react to it. And I realized that I don't really identify with those types of characters too well. I'm very much a doer type personality, and reacting to things when I'm out of control of them just doesn't quite feel right. And I find that passive protagonist characters tend to frustrate me. They feel wishy-washy, they don't really have a commitment to anything, and they kind of just let the will of the galaxy kind of take them all over the place, right? So this book was really important for me to learn how to identify with Jyn. Now, did it do that? Yes. In my opinion, this book is essential reading, just like Guardians of the Whills was essential reading as well. Rebel Rising allowed me to understand where Jyn's character was coming from throughout most of Rogue One. And what I mean by that is that you get to see her character progression from age, 8 all the way up until Rogue One. And it's almost really what I was kind of hoping out of the Ahsoka book from E.K. Johnston. Johnston? Lord, I can't remember her name. Or her last name. But the wonderful writer that did Ahsoka. She made a wonderful novel, but the time frame was too short for me. And in Rebel Rising, the time frame is all of it. You get to see her from age 8 all the way up until Rogue One, which is wonderful. In addition to getting to know a little bit more about Jyn, or really a lot more about Jyn, which we'll jump back to here in a second, you get to learn so much about Saw. Saw Gerrera is so much well understood in Rogue One, and the little bit that we got of him in Guardians of the Whills through this book. You get to really get his psyche, and you get to see his descent into madness, which is amazing to see. He is involved in some super terrible, terrible crap, but you feel bad for him because he feels that he's driven to it. You may not agree with what he's doing, but you can see why he's doing it, which is something incredibly important for you to identify with the character. Now I'll go ahead and jump back to Jyn, and I'll give you guys a little bit more detail behind how I feel that she was portrayed, and how I feel that we were allowed to get to know her and understand where she's coming from. The best way for me to put this is that I feel that passive protagonist characters, she remains to be a passive protagonist character. She doesn't do too much in Rebel Rising. Things happen to her and she reacts, just like in Rogue One. But I feel that passive protagonist characters like Jyn are much much better depicted in written formats because you can hear and see and experience their internal monologue, which is incredibly important to understanding reasons as to why they would say this thing to that character or commit this action or attack this person or whatever. You actually understand things like in Rogue One why she attacks them at attacks her rescuers at Wambani. She wants nothing to do with absolutely anybody in the galaxy. She's sick and tired of it. And it's just, this book did an amazing job of helping me to enjoy Jyn. And I'm really looking forward to filming the spoiler review so I can talk about all the actual, like, things that happen. Now, I'm not going to say that this is one of my favorite books out of the new canon. I'm going to say that it's about a 6 out of 10. Now, I'm not grading things like SATs are graded. A 50 is, or a 5, is average, not a fail. For reference, I felt that Lost Stars was a 10 out of 10. An amazing book, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about Rebel Rising. But yeah, final conclusion time. As long as you enjoyed Rogue One, you will definitely enjoy this book. If you didn't like Rogue One, this book definitely provides a lot more character development if that was one of your issues with Rogue One in the first place. If you're somebody like me who didn't enjoy Rogue One as much as most Star Wars fans seem to have enjoyed it. So I think that's about all I've got to say for my spoiler-free review. Look for the spoiler review coming probably sometime next week. I apologize that this video is coming out as late as it is. I usually try and get my spoiler-free reviews out a couple of days after the book's release, but work has been insane. Million square feet of inventory that needed to be counted, each individual SKU. So much overtime, so little sleep. But anyways, thank you guys so much for your time and patience. Thank you guys for coming. Go ahead and hit a like on this video if you enjoyed it. Hit subscribe too if you want more content. And as always, may the Force be with you.